Have we been live this whole time?
Oh, who's making paper cutting boards? Feta and prosciutto.
It's international.
Yeah.
And there it goes.
What now?
And there it goes.
And there it goes. Are we on the internets now?
I think we're on the internet. That one is connected.
We've typed in our AOL password. We've thrown away the disk because we're already signed on. And it's another Friday here in the Woodsmith shop. I'm going to kick things off by making John walk a little bit, show a couple of things that I have going on over at the editor's bench. So come on. Now, before we get the question, what you may hear in the background are the CNCs, our little elves in the other room, if you will, taking care of some business and making some super secret tools and accessories. Maybe Chris can share about that some other time or today or whatever. What I want to point out is a couple of things that I'm working on. First of all is a Christmas present that I'm working on for my father-in-law. He typically doesn't watch the Friday Lives. So Eric, if you're watching now, you're going to probably want to avert your gaze for the next couple of minutes. Otherwise, a couple of summers ago, I made him a workbench that looks a lot like this one. And he needs some organization underneath it. So a project that went along with this bench for shop notes was a set of storage drawers that you can just add into practically any workbench, frankly. We designed it for this one just in some of the material choices. But what's really cool about it is there's two different sizes of drawers, and you can mix and match organization on the inside to divide it up however you want. So I thought I'd make something similar for him. And what's really cool about it, these are the plans from Shop Notes 125. You can also find them online at woodsmithplans.com. Is the simple joinery. So there's a groove on the outside that runs along a runner in the case, and then a pair of dados on the inside faces that accept the front and back of the drawer. And then we'll add a hardwood pole that'll match the rest of the detailing on the bench. So the other thing that I'm working on is in the process of building the case for this, I've been using my biscuit joiner, which is it's a Porter Cable 555 model. Kind of a vintage piece, but it actually works really well and I like it. But I've had some trouble with the switch, so we've decided to open it up and do a little surgery on getting the connection a little bit more reliable on there. So that'll be part of my afternoon's activities. So other than that, I think I'm going to head over to Mr. Dylan Baker and see what he's working on. He's got a couple of things in the pipeline.
Oh, he's here.
Oh, me. Hello, everybody. Again, welcome back to, I guess, my designated area of the shop, even though I've kind of spilled over again into somebody else's space. Last week, we kind of briefed the shop stool. That was the paired piece or piece that we kind of did as an extension of the shave horse. So it is finished. We've got the nice walnut top, 1 inch through tenons there with walnut wedges. The legs and stretchers are all ash. So a little bit more about this piece. Top or the seat was glued up. It's just a regular panel glue up. We did a little dishing with some power tools, but we went ahead and did some detailing work around the perimeter of the seat pan with a V-gouge. The legs started off square, which again, I can't recall if we saw those last week in their square blank form, but again, they started square, and that was just really to get the tenons for the top here. And then we actually did most of the shaping with good old-fashioned draw knife and spoke shave to kind of ultimately round them down. I know it's a little hard to tell on here. They almost look turned, but there are some irregularities, but I wanted to get them as close as possible. A little thicker at the top, tapered towards the bottom. Same with the stretchers, started off squared and got shaped with the draw knife and the spoke shave. You also notice too that I decided to add a little design element. Really was more for the rigidity of the piece, but again, it's always nice when you kind of use some of those construction works as details for your piece too. So you'll notice that there's little plugs here that go through the legs and the stretchers, and that is, they actually will drill all the way through the tenons here. Again, just as another line of security, but again, it might be hard to notice, but they're all square, so I just pre-drilled my holes slightly smaller in diameter, and then I drove these square pegs. I think I might actually have, oh, here. So they're just these little small square walnut blanks that I took out, or pins, and I just drove through those round holes there. And again, you know, since this piece will probably end up ultimately taking a lot of abuse in a shop, it's just a little bit more, another, I guess, technique or way of joining those tendons or strengthening those tendons that are in the legs. So with that being said, another project I have going on that I started last night after we got done with work, so we're never not thinking about woodworking. There's actually a winery open up here. Well, not a winery, it's going to be a wine bar. They have these, they'll be serving wine, imported wine, but they'll also do charcuterie, cheese. And so they've got these little pig serving plates. They were store-bought for the wine bar, but what I'm doing is creating these circle templates here. So I actually cut out the shape of the pig, went back with a pattern bit so I could get them close, and these will be adhered to the pieces with the respected holes, and there'll be little recesses in the tops of these for little wine flights to go with them. So that's kind of what I'm working on in my spare time or outside of work as an extension of what I already do. So I think that's all I really have for my projects going on right now. Vinyl console is coming up. Been kind of working out some design ideas for that. So check in next week. Hopefully have some modeling done. Probably nothing built full scale, but moving right along with projects. So are we going over to...
Let's go see Chris.
Yeah, let's go see Chris Fish.
Oh, hey, Chris.
Hello, John. Hello, everyone. Well, I'll tell you a little bit about what I'm up to over here. A little departure from the usual projects. I'm working on some potential products for Woodsmith. And the one I'm kind of excited about, what I have going on right now, is wooden measuring tapes, wooden case measuring tapes. So, got lots of parts here. They start out like this. This is off the CNC machine, and so this is a right and left-handed side for a measuring tape. Here is a finished case. This is Bacote, tropical hardwood. So we got stainless steel fasteners holding the two sides together, trim ring, and I'm experimenting a little bit right now with a logo for each side. Now for experimenting, I'm using a decal currently on a piece of maple. Probably for a production piece, what I'd like to do is get an electrically heated brand made, and we'll go ahead and brand each one of these. I think the brand will give us a little more of a tactile quality, which will match the wood and the tape a little better. For the, I don't have a Bacote lever. These are lever lock style tapes, so there'll be a lever lock down here with springs and tape coming out of this end. So I'm just kind of trying to get a bunch of samples done. Hopefully I'll get approval, and then whether I like it or not, there'll be about 500 of these to make. So we'll see how it all goes, and maybe we can get the 500 done in the next 6 months. We'll see. Other than that, we've got some things for garden gate going on, and we're also doing some aluminum work for, you're probably familiar with all of our our steel rulers that we advertise. We have a 6-inch, a 12-inch, and an 18-inch. And so I'm working on a whole series of small gauges, and these are just component parts, which are going to work with our rulers. So there'll be one for centering, say a drill bit or router bit relative to the fence, making that measurement. Also a step style gauge for blade heights or router bit heights. There's going to be a trammel set for the 18-inch ruler. And also we've got aluminum T-square heads for the 6, the 12, and the 18-inch, which I think will be fun. And maybe a few more things yet to come. So be on the lookout. And that's what's going on here.
Chris, I'm going to put you on the spot. We had a question from a reader over there, or a viewer, who has a Porter cable 3.5-inch, 3.5 horse router, plunge
Yes.
router.
Mhm.
Hasn't used it in a while, went to plug it in and got nothing.
Uh-oh.
And John said he hasn't used it much either. So, not like it's that old.
Yeah, so it hasn't seen a lot of wear and tear. How would he best go around figuring out what's wrong with it?
Well, like with an engine, no gas, no spark, you start with the basics. So go ahead and open it up and take a multimeter and check the switch to make sure that that's functioning properly, and the cord. That's probably the first place to start.
Okay. Yep.
Beyond that,
I would also put a wrench on the collet, make sure it spins freely.
Good
Make
idea.
sure moisture didn't get in there and rust anything.
lock it up.
Yeah. So that's where I'd check. And then around here, I would take it to, we have 3E electrical here in town that deals with motors, and that's basically all a router is a motor.
Yeah.
If you get to the point where it's still not working, that's where I would go. I'd see if you find an electric motor shop around you, maybe.
Electric supply place. Yeah.
Yeah, and see if they can check it out. Because a 3.5 or 3.25 horse router is not a cheap router.
No,
So-
I've owned one of those quarter cable 3.5 horse routers. They're great machines.
Yep.
They're tough, and there's just not that much to go wrong other than cord, switch, or the speed control. That
Yeah.
can always be an issue.
Yeah.
One thing I know, I had a 3.5 quarter cable, and I put it in one of these router lift mechanisms, and the router lift sheared the speed control switch off. But
Yeah.
it still worked. So
All right.
Okay.
John, you've been
Yes.
on a field trip this week
Okay.
for a project. You want to share
Oh,
what
yeah.
you got?
I was like, what did I do?
what did I do?
Does he get to put the camera down?
You want to explain that? I'll switch here with you real
Oh,
quick.
sure. Oh, thank you. Camera's heavy. You guys talk a lot.
Thanks.
So Mark's not here right now, but he is going to be building a trestle style table that I designed, and it's all going to be kind of timber framed with pins and whatnot, so similar to what a barn would be constructed. And we thought it would be cool to make it out of barn board. So we went on a trip to south of Winterset, Iowa, about 45 minutes from here, and we went to a purveyor of barn boards, and we picked out some lumber here. It is acclimating to the shop, we'll say, but Mark is starting to break it down a little bit, but when we got it, it was all rough sawn, 3-inch thick by 12-inch wide pieces, and I believe it came from a corn crib that was built in the 1800s here in Iowa. So as you can see, it is some pretty tight grain Douglas fir, probably stuff you can't pick up at the local hardware store or home center, but
Grab one of those.
Yeah.
so we'd like to get
Figure of reference.
Yeah. Can you count the rings?
Let's see the surface because it was definitely
Yeah.
weathered.
It's
Yeah.
haven't found any nails or anything in it yet. so
There was definitely some nail holes in some of them, but I think they've cleaned them out.
yeah, they do a pretty good job of pulling all the nails and stuff.
What's the name of the place?
I believe Iowa Barn Boards, but we'll have that all in the article when that gets written here. I think this issue comes out maybe in April of next year.
January, February, March, April? March, April?
March, April.
March, April, maybe?
So
February,
yeah,
March?
we'll
Yep.
see as the weeks go by here how this wood transforms. But it's I think it's gonna be pretty cool. It's a pretty nice wood that's been in a barn for 100 years or so. So
The only thing I like about lumber like this is it's old growth, right?
Right, yeah.
So this is a tree that grew somewhere without human interference, meaning this was not a plantation tree meant to be harvested for lumber. So like, you compare what we buy today, we get these big, huge growth rings because it's an industry. It's built there, it's planted and modified to grow fast for lumber. Whereas I was looking to see if we can find a scrap of 2x4.
this one's pretty tight for
Yeah,
Home Depot, but
but just,
in comparison, this is
Yeah.
a newer board.
yeah.
But
So,
you can see how tight and dark those.
yeah, growth rings are between
yeah.
the
seasons.
The seasons, yeah, between the winter and summer wood. So that's kind of a cool thing I always like seeing.
So, and I'm sure there'll be nail holes and
Yeah.
and whatnot as we get through there. But yeah, it'll have a lot of character. So excited to see how that turns out.
John, you want to show our calendar off?
Do we have one here?
We do, it's right
We
there.
do.
Oh, hey!
And it's,
So if you haven't heard, we have the Woodsmith 2020 calendar come out. Don't worry, there are no centerfolds of our workers here. It is all,
This is not the Wood Shop Boys edition.
yeah, this is all project photos. Some of our favorite projects and more popular projects. And there are some tips and facts throughout, but yeah, you can get these now at www.woodsmith.store.com or what?
store.woodsmith.
Store.woodsmith.com. It's on the
Yep.
World Wide Web.
Yeah, and I mean, it's fair to point out we did a limited run of these. So we printed 150 total. We printed 150, our gardening magazine printed 150, and our cooking magazine printed 150. And not saying that it's a race.
It's not a competition.
It's not a competition, but we're trying to sell ours out. First, we have about 35 left, roughly.
Maybe.
Maybe.
So call now. And if you promise to tell a
We could
friend,
reorder.
We could
We could
reorder, yes.
reorder,
with demand.
Yes, but we do have about 35 left in stock, and if anybody wants to order some, we will throw in some of our limited edition Woodsmith stickers. We have Woodsmith Rules stickers and our Woodsmith Shop caricature stickers, so we'll throw in a couple of those with the remaining 35 calendar orders, so make sure you order those. We'll throw out a link in the, I'll go over there and throw it up on the YouTube stream and the Facebook stream, so you guys will have that link for those.
Because we really want to have those sell out.
Yeah, I'd
yeah,
love to have those sell
it's
out.
probably
Go
gonna be the next
kind of-
week or so. So I
Yeah.
would order right now if
Yeah.
you want one.
2020's coming up.
Yeah, and we're not going to discount them once 2020 hits. You know, we don't prorate those once the months start getting eaten up. So, but no, they are actually really cool. We did calendars last year. These ones, if I do say so, not just saying that because Becky designed these ones, but these ones are really pretty nice. So go check those out. We'll throw out the link for those. And I'm also going to give one more plug for Phil's seminar coming up here next Thursday. It feels like it's early in this month, but that's, I think, because the first was like a Friday.
Yeah.
So it is on the 17th, right?
14th.
14th, that's what I said. And Phil will be talking about building better boxes, right?
Yeah.
I hope that's right.
Yeah.
So,
Holidays, man.
Yeah, go check that out. That is our Woodsmith Live seminars. We do those the third Thursday.
More or less third Thursday.
More or less, third Thursday of every month. And we have a all access pass for 2020 that you guys can pre-order for all the 2020 seminars, or you can purchase all the 2019 seminars that we've had. When we purchase those, you can get those and go back and watch any of the seminars we've done in the past for that year. So those are fun to do. I'm looking forward to seeing Phil's because this is similar to the presentation he gave at our workshop that we did, that I was also presenting at, so I didn't get to hear his presentation. So I'll be interested to sit through this one, kind of help man the controls, pilot the ship, so to speak, but also listen. So that is woodsmithshop.com/seminars. Nailed it. And that's all we have. So we will check you guys here next week.
Okay.
Be dusty, my friends.
That just happened.